when I have authority to decide that for myself, right, it's very freeing, very liberating, and like if anything, it makes me a lot happier than like I was in my past relationships, you know, like I'm happy. Yeah.
The most important relationship is the one with yourself.
It's true. So today's episode is going to be a bit different. For the past 3 seasons, I've been hosting the show alone, and it's gotten a bit lonely. I think we've brought in a lot of like fresh perspectives, you know, expert voices, women with very interesting stories. But what we've never really done is kind of to explore like a more ordinary, everyday millennial girl kind of perspective. And I think that kind of voice has been missing on the show for a while. I think I've always wanted to kind of share my perspective and experiences with you guys, but I didn't want it to end up being like a monologue. So I've decided to consult a friend to come and co-host the show with me.
Hello, I'm Kimberly. Oh, Kim, you can call me Kim.
Kim for short. So this is going to be the Nic and Kim show from now onwards. We're not going to bring any experts anymore. I'm kidding, that's disgusting.
We're not experts at all.
We're
need to say.
We're not experts, but I think we feel that there is value in kind of exploring
young women navigating the world.
Yes. And lo and behold, we are young women.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is, I think, do a series of talks or conversations around what it means to be a young, like mid-20s kind of Southeast Asian woman trying to navigate society and exist. What are some of the struggles we have? And kind of talk through them together. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we can start off with, I think I want to assume that like most of my listeners kind of know who I am, hopefully after 50 episodes. So the face that they probably won't be familiar with is yours. So maybe you can give us a bit of like an introduction.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kimberly. So I'm social media lead at OGS, and I joined Our Grandfather's Story in August. So yeah, I've been a working woman for just over 2 years now. Yeah, I graduated in 2018. I have quite a few things on the side. So I play music with the Philharmonic Youth Winds. Then I have a little embroidery thing going on with my team at We Told You So, which is a pun, which I love. Yes. Okay.
She's making me look really bad. She has like 2 side gigs and I'm like, main gig. I'm embarrassed.
There's no embarrassment.
Embarrassment. No, I think this is really interesting, but in the series of conversations we're gonna have, right, I think career and like work and side hustles is actually quite
yeah. I think a lot of people are exploring that kind of like where to kind of get your happiness from, you know what I mean?
Correct.
You shouldn't tie it to like one particular thing. Yeah,
correct. I think this is a topic that has crossed my mind quite recently, that I'm kind of dating around. So every time somebody new asks me like, what are your hobbies? And I'm just like, silence.
I scroll a lot of TikTok.
I watch a lot of content on YouTube. I watch my Netflix at 1.5 speed plus 10. I struggle a little bit to kind of also dissociate myself as a working adult from like my hobbies or like my interests. And to me that's quite scary lah. It's like, is this all I'm worth? How do I determine like my value, I guess, in that sense, you know?
Yeah, I guess after starting work, you kind of realize that like you really need to intentionally make the time, like set aside the time if you want to get something done. Yeah, and that makes like everything so much more like worthwhile. Because I mean, if it's a friendship that you continue to pursue, it's only because like it's a friendship that you value so much higher. Yeah, so yeah, you drop off like all those acquaintances like suddenly don't become as important, but the ones that you keep like are way more important. Yeah, I think being a friend is also like not a bad hobby, you know?
So like what, like when somebody asks me like what do you do
I think
for
like
fun, you're like, I hang out with my friends.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that a thing? You have to intentionally make the time. Some people would much rather stay at home and do nothing. What?
Oh my god, like every time like somebody like on a date and they say like, oh, like on weekends I hang out with friends, or like I find it damn lame
No, but I mean, you don't have to say like just hang out with friends. You can say like what you know what I mean, what interests you, like, oh, I watch like films with my friends, or you know what I mean, that kind of thing. Like I think it's like a social pursuit is
makes a person interesting. Or shows that this individual has values.
I guess it's like you value a social, like the group setting allows you to kind of explore your own like personality more.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Disagree? Agree?
I think I'm very harsh. Like every time somebody tells me like, oh, I like watching films, I like traveling, I like hanging out with my friends. I'm like, yeah, I also like that. I mean,
don't
things.
put it in your friggin' like Tinder bio. I don't need to know that you like traveling. Who doesn't?
No, exactly. That's my point.
Yeah, no, okay, I get it. It's like if I see an MBTI on someone's Tinder profile, it's completely like not swipe right. Yeah.
No, same. But if they put their horoscope, kidding. No,
I have a good friend who says MBTI is just horoscopes for tech bros.
It's true, leh.
And I'm like,
and the way they are so proud of it is like,
yeah,
calm down, sis.
a lot of my psychologists, my friend who's going to have a PhD in psychology, is very against the MBTI. What the heck was this episode supposed to be about, man?
Okay, let's hone in on the focus for today's episode. I think across the spectrum of things that millennial women struggle with, one of the big things that always comes up, and I think from our listeners as well, is that like this whole topic of love, right? Could be platonic, could be familial love, could be romantic, and I think that's kind of what we want to have a discussion about today. So maybe we can start by sharing with everybody, by airing our dirty laundry, not really,
yes.
or like telling people what is our experiences, or like, yeah, what's our past relationship history like?
Okay, so I'm a serial monogamist. Yeah, I must say. I've been okay, I've only had I think like 3 serious relationships, including the one I'm in now. And I started dating when I was 15. So that's pretty young.
And you are?
I am now 26. Yeah.
That's 11 years of dating.
Yeah, 11 years of dating. On and off lah.
Yeah.
Obviously there were breaks in between, but yeah.
Yeah. 3 serious relationships. Okay, so like late now for me.
Yeah. The first was like 3 years.
Okay.
Second was about 4 odd, and then this one is coming to like 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the middle, in between all those, like I did like have flings here and there, but I think in the most part it's always been just for me, like, because I guess I value like friendships as well. So like finding that kind of like companionship is important to me. Yeah. So it ends up being like like even when I do want to like play around, if there's like enough chemistry with someone that like I can potentially see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've always struck me as quite like a open individual. You're not very picky with like the people you feel like you can vibe with.
Personally, it's more of a like there's no point of being afraid of like saying things or like doing things that you like to do, because eventually you will find your tribe. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going. I can't believe I just said that. What the heck? You know, when I was younger, I was a bit kind of like, oh yeah, band is kind of lame, you know. But like, I really enjoy being like a musician, that kind of thing. But then as I got older, I realized like, oh, actually like me having this and like being passionate about something is actually like more beneficial to me, and nobody else like actually cares. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So
actually, I really respect that.
So I liked Star Wars since I was like primary 5. And then I came out with the username like Darth Kimmy when I was like 11. And then it just became like a thing. So like now it's just like my handle on a lot of like different social media platforms. Yeah. Because I mean, the fact that I can enter that username and get it like almost anywhere means my 11-year-old self was pretty like creative.
Yeah. She knew she was a creative from young.
That's right.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting, this idea of like that. I mean, okay, it sounds to me as if like you are quite like settled and secure as an individual. Yeah. I feel like I'm not really the opposite, but it took me quite a while to like kind of figure myself out. So my last relationship ended in like early 2017, so that's almost coming to like 4 years. And like when I was younger, I used to think that like there was like this one person that was meant for you forever, and then you just date this one person, and then you get married and live like a happy life, right? And this person will like love you and everything. But like as I grow older, or I think from my previous relationships, I started to think like it's very unrealistic to expect that there will be one person for you for the rest of your life. And so where I am now in my life is that I think I'm very comfortable, a bit too comfortable being like single. and I'm very happy with just messing around, you know? It's helped me, give me the space that I need to develop as an individual, which I never really had, I guess, the time and experience to explore when I was younger. And given me time to kind of develop my relationship with my friends, my family, myself. And, you know, I don't want anybody to like come and invade my space.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I've spent a lot of time trying to hone and to like build. You know?
Yeah. Actually, when you were talking about it earlier, like about how like you found that I was a bit more like sure of what I enjoy and things like that in terms of relationships, right? I thought it was quite interesting because like my ex, so like the one that I was together with for 4 years, we actually shared a lot of similar interests. So we were both into like the same kind of like pop culture stuff. So Star Wars, like okay, very nerdy. So like Back to the Future, like all those like kind of science fiction stuff. Then like we met at a Doctor Who screening, okay, because it was like the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, okay. Yeah. Very, very embarrassing. But no, as in so that was like a thing, like you know, we are the same kind of person.
Yeah.
Then it became like I guess it became like, because I thought like, yeah, those are the traits that I kind of like want to present, right?
Yeah.
Then the fact that somebody had these same traits were like, oh, that's like such a like rare find.
Yeah.
But it ended up being, I think, a bit detrimental, because honestly those things, like you watching the same TV shows,
it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting because I think I also recently read that like people are talking about how you shouldn't find somebody that has like similar interests. You should find somebody with like similar like values.
After that breakup, and I had a lot of time to kind of like explore.
What was the reason you broke up?
Oh my god. It was bad. He wanted to break up.
Okay.
So this was, I think, like in year 4 of uni. Then it was really like the we need to talk kind of thing. And then he asked me like, what does marriage mean to you? And then yeah, I know. And then I said I mean, I don't know yet, but I think like at the end of the day it's just coming home to someone that like I want to come home to. I was trying to see it as a big picture thing.
Yeah.
Then he was saying like
was it like a very sudden out of the blue kind of conversation?
Yeah. To me,
like
it
you
was.
didn't expect it.
I didn't expect it. He told me he thinks that marriages should have meaning, that we should be able to give back to the community, that kind of thing. And I was like, I don't see how we can't. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What does he mean by that? I don't.
He ended up going to Tanzania to help like children.
Okay.
And then like getting together with this girl.
Okay.
On this trip.
Okay.
And then now they're married.
Oh.
okay, but this is very trash. You cannot put in.
No, but this is a very interesting story.
Really?
Yeah. I'll share my personal experiences
let me
also.
see. Okay, let me backtrack a bit. The week before we broke up, he texted me talking about how like the world is unfair. So I was just like, yeah, Lamau, it's unfair. Because I feel like people our age have these kind of thoughts all the time. Like, it kind of hits you that, like, you know, there's these things that you are kind of out of your control. Like, what can you do about them? So I kind of just like, yeah, I mean, it's really unfair. So we're having about this conversation. Then he said that there was this trip that his school friends were planning, like, because he was in NUS. So he was planning to go with his classmates to Tanzania because they had, like, a partnership with one of the orphanages, I don't know, something like one of these like schools in Tanzania. And then I was like, oh yeah, you should completely go, like why not, right? Like at this time, like before we actually start working, this is the juncture where you explore like whether or not, this is, if you are interested in social enterprises, why not explore it before you actually start work, and then, you know, you can explore it as a career, that kind of thing. I don't think that, so I thought I was being quite encouraging about it. Then when the actual like breakup conversation hit, that was when like I realized that I don't think he had the intention to kind of like go and then get together with this girl. But I think it was like it was probably in his mind that, you know, she represented the values that he wanted to kind of like emulate, which I mean, at the end of the day, like, good for him lah. Even when he told me all that, I always thought that giving should start from like
Your
people closest to you.
circle,
So I told him, like, you know, there's a lot of like social issues in Singapore that really need looking at. Oh, I'm also I volunteer in this group called Access Singapore. So it's about giving like children from like less privileged backgrounds in like secondary school like opportunities, like so they get like externships in like companies for a short period of time and whatnot. So yeah, to me, like, those causes are a lot closer to home, and you can actually like follow through with them in a way, because like if you are going to anywhere in the world, like, you know there's this term that was like being thrown on, like, poverty tourism, which is a thing like I think quite a lot of schools also kind of do that as well. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it comes from a bad place. And I mean, I'm not gonna say that no one should ever travel to do these kinds of things, but I think if you are able to help like closer to home, then you should. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
The last person that I was with, what happened was also that, like, I think he's very ambitious and like super driven, and like he also broke up with me because like there was a bit of a mismatch in like goals for the future. So what happened is that like he left and then he went to work overseas in New York, and like the year that he left, right, was in like 2017, and he like never came back. So he's still like there working and finishing up his degree, which is really cool, and like he's a really great person, and like it's very ambitious of him. But I think there was a bit of like a tension in that, because I feel like I grew up with this expectation and like understanding that like if you date somebody, right, and you know that, and we were super like in sync, the next step after like graduation would be that you get married, you get a house, you know, you, I don't know, find a job here together. But like there was always that person in consideration. There was never like, what are you doing? What is he doing? It made me reevaluate like where was I getting all these like understandings of like what love should be like, what a relationship should be like, what should my future be like, right? It felt as if like I was trying to fit into something that was like I felt was predestined for me, really. But diving back to the topic of conversation, right? What is your takeaway, I guess? Because I mean, it does seem like a very unorthodox relationship in that like it was so long, and then I wouldn't say you were pressured to get married, but
Yes, there's this BoJack quote that I really, really like. So it's when you see the world through rose-tinted glasses, all the red flags just look like flags. And I really like that, because I think even though early on there were things that I kind of wasn't 100% comfortable with, or I thought was a bit off, I just kind of like let it slide.
Like the marriage thing?
Not necessarily just the marriage thing. I think there were a few things like I think he wasn't kind of comfortable when I spoke to like guy friends, that kind of thing. Is something that as Singaporean girls you also kind of internalize, because there's a lot of boys who don't allow girls to do things. It's like there's this meme about it. It's like, I don't need another parent/legal guardian in my life. But it becomes a thing, because they will kind of like ask, you know what I mean, they there's this trust thing, but it's also the trust has implications of a need to kind of like monitor.
Like, okay, this is very interesting, because right, I would say that like, and this is a very difficult confession for me, but I've always been that girlfriend that like is like unreasonable and like jealous. I would say that I'm very not proud of it, and I know that it's a thing that I have to work on. And therefore, like, staying out of relationships is great, because then there's space to kind of explore that, right? But like, very admittedly, like, it's something that I think when I first entered relationships, right, I felt like the whole concept of that girlfriend and boyfriend is you're exclusive, right? That you should be able to be this person's like entire world. Basically, you're the first priority. You know what I mean? So like, anything else that comes after is like not as important. And so like, You know what I mean? So I think that's where the whole idea of like, you cannot talk to other girls.
I guess.
Or like,
no, I understand. It's like, I mean, I think the toxicity goes both ways. Definitely, like, I have also been guilty of, you know, being unreasonable about these kind of things. I don't think that, I mean, it's a kind of a human thing, because it stems from insecurity, right? So,
but I think it also stems from the fact that like, for a very long time, like, people keep telling us that like, this is your boyfriend, and therefore like, like, you should be the number one in his life. You know, like, every other girl, it's either you see her as like a competition or like some level of like threat, and like, if he doesn't declare that like this is my girlfriend, and like show her off and like determine that like you two are like two peas in a pod, right? Then like there's something wrong with him, like you know what I mean? Like I don't know, like yeah. I think I grew up feeling that way, that like when I'm with somebody, like I have to be, the world needs to know so that the world doesn't like come in on our space, which is a very bad thing, I would say lah. Yeah. And I do feel as if like this is a very Asian kind of mentality, because I think like we grew up always thinking that, you know, like, yeah, family units are the most important, right? And then like when men and women come together, then they make their own family unit, and then everyone else outside there is kind of in the next kind of like circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. Because I feel like I'm okay with like having like guys having female friends and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's like if they get too close, then there's always like questions, and you know.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to express your discomfort.
Yeah.
But I think insisting on an action is another thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just something you explore, because I think as you grow older, you also kind of realize like, yeah, okay, you can really be friends, and there's really nothing there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, one big reason why I kept telling people that I was like logically okay, but emotionally not. Because we had this very, very long conversation. We talked for like 3 or 4 hours when the night we broke up, and it was the whole like, oh, actually when this happened I thought this, oh, actually when like this happened I thought this, and it was so many kind of like assumptions and like just a lot of misunderstandings but unclear, you know what I mean? And I guess a lot of things were swept under the carpet. So I realized that I really hadn't been communicating. And it was also brought up to me by another friend that she felt like if I had problems with their ex, I wouldn't actually talk to them about it. Yeah, and it was something that I didn't even realize. Like, I thought that me not sharing issues was just me kind of showing that, oh yeah, the relationship is fine, that kind of thing. But like there's no harm in sharing like any issues that you have, because no relationship comes completely perfect. You know what I mean? So I think this is for friendships as well. Like now, if I go through issues in friendships, I will ask another friend who has absolutely may not know this person ever, and then like, this is the situation, or ask someone who knows both of us, and like, this is the situation, like how can I improve it, that kind of thing. So it's that kind of thing where you kind of realize that, oh, a second opinion is really helpful, because when you're too close to the situation, you don't see the issues. Yeah, and that's really what I learned. I think like that communication is super important, and then I guess having the same value. So I was so excited, like when I realized like we like the same things, however, but actually like they didn't really end up meaning anything. So I think now it's a lot more about making sure so my current boyfriend, I think like communication is very, very big deal. We talk about everything, so like if anything bothers us, like we'll just talk about it. So even if we are upset about something, it's not about like fighting about it, it's really about talking about it. So I think that's a really, really good, like, wholesome relationship kind of thing. Yeah, and we're very compatible in many different ways, which I really appreciate. Yeah.
So where do you find him?
Bumble. No lah, I must say like I think that at every age there will be like a person for you. Do you know what I mean? Like the person for you at 19 or 20 is very different from the person for you at like 25. Yeah,
I agree.
And I think like recognizing that also kind of helps you see like how much you've grown. Yeah, because that person can grow with you, but it doesn't mean that they continue being like the person that you want to be with. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I want to kind of go back on the point about like the friends thing, because I think that's something that like asking your friend that like whether this is
like about issues, is it?
Yeah. And then it goes back to that whole idea that I was talking about just now, right? That like if you and your partner exist in a circle, then it could very well be like a toxic kind of circle that you're both trapped in.
It's a weird codependency.
Yeah, no? Yeah. And like you don't let anyone else in, because like you've always grown up with the expectation that like this is like my own business, because it's like relationship first, then friendship second. But I think that's also something that like I learned from like my first relationship, that like it doesn't mean that if it's a problem that we are going through ourselves, we cannot like share with our friends or like seek their opinion and consult them, right? And like in any regard, like I would say that it's actually quite healthy to kind of discuss it, and it's not like disrespectful to your partner. You can do it in a respectful manner. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think
obviously if you end up talking about it and it becomes disrespectful, then that says something about
issue, like that's
that's a problem. But if you're really talking about it because you just need like another perspective on it, then I think that's fine. I think that's healthy.
Agree. Do you feel as if like some of the expectation that society has on you as a young woman in like love is like suffocating, or like do you feel like you align yourself with it? So I think maybe more specifically I can share that like there's an expectation, I guess, for women like my age or like where I'm in life to kind of like be dating and like finding a boyfriend and settling, kind of looking to find somebody that you can spend time with. But I would say that like my family is very unorthodox in that my parents are very supportive and they're very open to the idea that like, let's say if that never happens, right, then like so be it lah. So I'm very thankful for that, but I know that that's not always the case for everybody. Like for a lot of friends who are like, oh, you know, my parents keep pressuring me. Then there's the whole Chinese New Year, like your relatives like come up to you and ask you like, are you attached yet? So I feel like some of the expectations, I'm very lucky, like don't apply to me in that regard. And I feel it's very freeing. It's very like liberating. Yeah.
I think after the previous breakup, I kind of like freed myself from all those expectations in a way. Like I thought like, marriage is the next step kind of thing. But then after that, like even when I first got together with my current boyfriend, we were both very clear like we didn't want to get married so soon. Yeah. And I think that I was very thankful for that as well, because it allowed me to kind of explore what I wanted to do before kind of settling down. And I think there's no rush, there's no race. I think that's what my parents told me as well when I was crying in their bed telling them I broke up. Yeah, sorry. Okay, very embarrassing. But yeah, I think that they also told me that there's no rush, you know, like you have to find someone who values you, that kind of thing. And I think like that is so much more important than rushing to get married because you want a house or whatever.
Yep. So actually, like, so the question is then like, who's actually rushing? Who's the one that's imposing this on us?
Ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the main thing.
I think so. Like, yeah.
The more you agree with like what's set for you, then the more you kind of like self-internalize it, and then you make it happen.
It's true.
That's what you think you want.
Exactly. I think I grew up with a lot of rom-coms. I say it with shame, okay? I say it with shame. But there's always this idea that, you know, the one, then like you will live like a happy life together, and then like the person that I guess has a lot of flings or like is single until she's like 40 is like sad, miserable, and like a bit like promiscuous, you know. But like now it feels as if like when I have authority to decide that for myself, right, it's very, like I say, it's very freeing, very liberating, and like if anything, it makes me a lot happier than like I was in my past relationships, you know. Like I'm happy. Yeah lor.
I think the most important relationship is the one with yourself.
It's true.
No, but I think I realized, okay, I mean, it's very cliche, but I think after breaking up, you really see all these things very clearly. And I'm so thankful for that entire year that I kind of took to myself, because I grew so much. And I think that it's way more important to kind of find yourself in all this, you know. It's good to be single.
I also think so. It's great.
It's good.
Yeah,
I think a huge reason why I'm so comfortable with myself and like how confident I am, it's also because I've always had strong female role models in my life. So my mom and my father, both my parents met in university. So my mom also, you know, she has a really good and, well, I want to say illustrious, but I feel like that's a very CV kind of word. She's been very, very successful in her career. So I do look up to her, and I think that's helped in the sense that, you know, I've never seen women as like the kind of backseat kind of role in the family as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is very like #wholesome, but I think in a successful marriage also, you really need two people who respect each other. Yeah. And this is of course carries through for relationships as well. So once one party like has less respect for the other, then she taught me about how no matter what, you should always present yourself well. So I think there's this whole issue about, you know, girls are emotional, or girls are kind of a bit more prone to outbursts or all these kind of things. But I think as a woman who just started working, I realized that people do kind of pay more attention when you speak better, when you kind of carry yourself better, because all these small things really make a difference. And I think because she grew up in the kind of world where obviously she's not the only working female woman who exists, but in her field of work, she had to encounter a lot of male dominated fields, right? So how do you come across as like a very like strong female voice, but not in a negative way? Because I feel like that's a very thin line, you know.
Correct.
Yeah.
The standards are a bit different for women compared to like our male counterparts in terms of like being a position of authority and being like a subordinate, right? Yeah. I would say that I really like that point, because I mean the whole idea of like having an important female figure. I spent a lot of time reflecting on whether or like who. I would say that my mom she was never like that strong independent woman, and like even though she was working, I think she always took kind of like a backseat in the relationship with my dad. But that in itself was, I think now reflecting on it, right, I realized the role of like my father in this whole situation, because like he was a very important ally to the conversation. He was always very supportive, always pushed me to do my best, you know, was the one who taught me to be able to present myself in a certain way, you know, to aspire for bigger things, right? To prioritize yourself, to love yourself. And I think that like he never imposed any of those like, oh, you should stay at home, you should go and find a boyfriend, these kind of like expectations on me. He always saw me as like an equal.
Yeah, actually that's a very good point. Like strong male role models as well. Yeah. Yeah, I must say my dad also. Like he never said like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this or anything. Like he taught me when I said I want to learn how to tie a tie, because I had an Avril Lavigne phase when people wore like ties with t-shirts. Freaking okay, I'm very sorry. Shut up. It was very cool, okay. Yeah, he taught me to tie a tie, so it was never like yeah, he never said you shouldn't be tying a tie. He just taught me how to tie a tie. It was never like a gendered activity or whatever. It was, I mean, whatever you can do, you should just reach your potential, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah. I really like this whole idea of like, I guess our parents are both like progressive in that sense. Yeah.
Wholesome parents.
Yeah, very wholesome parents, without whom I wouldn't be here today, I guess. Yeah, they're very open-minded and like super tears. Anyway, importance of having good role models in your life. And I think that, I mean, just to kind of like run off that point, I feel like if you don't, I mean, parents are one aspect of role models that you can look up to, right? But if you are somebody that maybe doesn't have the luxury or that kind of access, right, then you also have the right to seek out somebody who can teach you, right, who can be your role model to look up to. I feel like you owe yourself that much as well. So
for sure.
And I know some people might have like parents that are not as supportive. So I don't feel like, you know, you don't deserve that kind of like leadership in your life. Yeah.
I think I can wrap up by saying like, so I recently read this book, maybe you should talk to someone, which is by a therapist, and it explores like her therapy patients, her going for therapy, and it's a very good introduction to like the world of mental wellness. And I think one of the characters who she mentions in the book kind of talks about how she got cancer when she was quite young, like early 30s. And then she talks about how she finally realized that she can love who she is. And she was just getting to it. So she was saying how, in your 20s, you kind of keep trying to conform to different things, and then you don't know who you are. And then finally when you're 30, you're just like, oh, actually I can be who I want to be. And that's fine. Like, no one actually cares. And then she hates that she got cancer right after she realized that she could do anything she wanted to do. So I think it's really important. Like, no matter who you are, no matter which relationship you're in, you have to make sure that, you're still true to yourself. Yeah.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, very, very much so.
Difficult, right?
Yes.
I think I don't have a book to refer to. I have a TikTok, No, I think my perspective, or like my takeaway, is that like it can be quite liberating to be by yourself. It's okay to be single. I just want to like re-emphasize that there's no pressure in getting attached. But the most important thing, I think, at the end of the day is really for you to evaluate and ask yourself, like, if this is for you. Yeah. So if you can be honest and touch your heart and say like, this is for me, then good for you.
Yeah. It's really okay to be single. Happy Singles Day.
Happy Singles Day. Okay, cool. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.